Greetings. We are here in Omaha, Nebraska at the African American Arts Gallery in Nebraska. Just African American Arts Gallery, africanamericanartsgallery.com. This is our second exhibition that we've held here with Lily Stennis, a local artist here in Omaha, Nebraska, whose artistic ability is far more than local. We were glad to get your first solo show. Is that correct?
Yes.
This is your first solo show?
First solo show.
We got the first solo show. You said it's a mixed art show, mixed media. We have sculpture, we have painting, we have, I don't even know how
prints,
to.
ink prints.
Prints. A little bit about your artistic journey.
So it all started when I was 6. I was just in the living room drawing a small little mouse, pink, with a pink pen, and my parents framed it, and they still have it to this day. And I never thought I was gonna use anything with art, but it really influenced a big piece of my life. It was a way that I used to express myself, and then I finally figured out that it was just my God's given talent. And I was just like, can I use this? And here I am using it to bring awareness of self, awareness of others, and awareness of faith.
And I hear it's more than just art though. So you're a college graduate.
Yeah.
Degree in, what did you major in, or what is your degree
Fine
in?
arts with an emphasis in ceramic sculpture. And
Oh, wow.
then also, there's also pre-dentistry. So
That's what I was hearing.
Yeah.
So we have a dentist in the making?
In the making, for
All
sure.
right.
So
All
in approximately 2 years, I will go back to school for dentistry, but I thought I'll give art a run first before I even dismiss the whole talent part.
Okay, so I don't want to veer too far off our path here, but what got you into dentistry? How, why dentistry?
My fascination with teeth.
Okay.
So I enjoy a person smiling. I was a shy person, and the only thing that really would invite me to conversate with a person was their smile. And so I used to judge a book by its cover, kind of what my body of work goes into. And if you wasn't smiling at me, I probably wouldn't say anything. If you didn't start the conversation, I wouldn't say anything either.
But that kind of goes in with your art, because the materials that you incorporate in some of your pieces, pretty incredible. So we're looking at paint with sand, leaves, the dresses, the hats. Tell us a little bit about how
I established my style.
Absolutely.
So my style was more so established through my experiences through my journey of understanding who I am as an individual. And then also just being aware of other people and how they impacted my life. And so going into what leaves are symbolic for, it just symbols the growth and the flourishing that I went through as a person through trying to find who I was. And I incorporated the sawdust as well to show the shedding of my past. And with that, I first created the Just Embrace Me painting that you see on our right side. Just to talk about my personal experience right then and there. I am an expressionist artist that like to make Afrocentric work, who I identify as. And there was a disconnection point for me from not actually talking about my work. When I was getting critical questions and things that made me uncomfortable to even making Black work within a predominantly white school. And I enjoy the culture change and shock a bit, because it really made me the empowering person I am today within my work. And just that change changed me. And so it wasn't making sense, but the show of growth, if I could take my greatest characteristic, which was being a grounded, humble person, and then finding elements of nature on the ground. And this is where sand, leaves came into, and the sawdust. So I decided that this is how I want to express myself. it's not about what you're looking at, it's more so of the characteristics of the person. And so that just goes into my pieces, because a lot of people get lost in what the silhouettes are about or the body language is about, but really sometimes it's more so of the inner person, characteristics and personality that they have within them.
Did you always start painting, or did you draw first and go to paint, or how did that?
So I went from drawing and then I went to ceramics. So that all started in high school when I took a ceramic class, and all I was taking ceramics. I loved clay. When I say I thought I was gonna be a potter, making cups and bowls and stuff, but I got bored. I was just like, what's the point? So I started making these cups and bowls into the little ornaments that you'll find in your living room and stuff. And I was just like, well, I like these better. And so I went from that, and then I told myself in high school that, you know, it would be nice if I took an actual painting class or drawing class, something that I was actually good at. So I took one painting class and I enjoyed it, but I still wasn't doing what I really enjoyed. I just called myself an Afro-expressionist ceramic sculptor because I rather sculpt in clay than any other medium. And then with my paintings, I don't necessarily consider myself as a painter, but with me being an expressionist, I felt like I needed to do more to show different emotions and figure out how do I want to put my voice on a canvas.
Were there any persons that kind of inspired you, or any artists that kind of informed your work or even inspired you as an artist? Not like their style, but just, are there some artists out there that you really admire, past, present, future?
So going to these after school programs growing up, a lot of the exposure that I got with art was through them, and I greatly appreciate them. So there's the Salvation Army, there's the Boys and Girls Club, Wildcats Club, the Hope Center. They all gave me the exposure to different types of arts by bringing different organizations in to actually help us create. So I feel like at a young age, that just influenced my art style as well. And as far as today, my art is influenced by Afrocentric stuff. So to be more specific, the Zimbabwe Shona art, which is sculptures made out of stone found within their riverbank, and they just sculpt, and I've been fascinated by their work. The first time I seen their work was in Atlanta's airport, passing through, and just was fascinated since. And then there's also the Kenya soapstone sculptures, which is more so abstract form. So you'll see more so of a body of work similar to the pieces that I have of my nonverbal communication. I decided to take that to a whole nother level by making those figures in a sense, but in abstract form. And then jazz. So jazz is a big influence to my work, only because growing up, there used to be these little jazzy figures, and also the vibrant and fluorescent colors that just really was just beautifying my living room at that point. Well, my parents' living rooms. And so I didn't know what it was doing to me, but it made me love the arts even more. And that's pretty much what fuels my color choices as well, other than them being symbolic to emotion and characteristics of a person.
I remember in one of your tours with one of your groups here, and you were explaining some of your work and the impetus behind some of your work. When did you begin, at what stage or age did you begin to realize that you could express emotionally through your art and put it like into your work, and it inform how you paint and how you sculpt? I mean, when you talk about some of your work and what it means, and what's interesting is there's several pieces where it's not just you, but the relationships of people. and how they interact and the effect they have on one another. When did you begin to release that? What caused you to find art an outlet to express that?
Ooh, so just coming from a background of like, I got 10 siblings. So not all the time mom and dad could listen to 10 people talking at once. And so a lot of the times I wouldn't talk, I'll just shy off, definitely coming from the second youngest out of that group. And I found myself drawing little sketches, and I didn't realize I was an expressionist whatsoever. I didn't notice probably until 2 years ago, probably, because I was just like, well, I guess this is what being an expressionist is. And so I found myself wanting to take that to another level by bringing awareness. And because I feel like the feelings that I have, other people have as well. And I learned that through just people watching, which really inspired this body of work.
Tell me about the one with the different, I don't want to call them horns or the pegs, or what would you call them?
Outrage. So
Tell me a little bit about that one. That's a very striking. They're all very striking. But let me say this before I want to jump back to something I was saying about as I traveled and went to some galleries. Your work looks like it would fit in the galleries that I visited in New York, in Chicago. I have a LA gallery visit coming up soon. Just left Minneapolis. They have a huge museum of art. Huge. I think it's like the MIA or Institute of Arts, Minneapolis Institute of Arts, something like that, or Arts Institute. Mm-hmm. Huge. I couldn't even finish the whole place. But as I recall some of the places I visited and I look at your art, it would fit there easily, like absolutely easily. So when I look at your art, when I first came in and saw it, I felt like I was transported to one of those cities, and I was like, this is the same level of art. Like, this is literally national level, maybe global level, I don't know. An artist, whoever appreciates art, they will know better than me. But from my civilian eye, it's as interesting, intriguing, striking as anything I've seen anywhere. And do you know that when you visit? I know you visit other countries and...
Yeah, so I travel around a bit, and just more so to understand other people. So me as an artist, I am interested in the artist's thought process. Not saying I'm not interested in their work, but more so because during that creative stage as an artist, I know that all the thoughts that I'm thinking of when I'm creating, and I guess that just goes with me being so emotional about everything when I'm creating. So it's just me trying to understand, why did they decide that this is how many layers of paint they should have on this painting, or this how large it should be. And so I am very intentional about my pieces and how I go about them. So the way I arrange them and display them, I feel like it also helps that person understand the story behind the piece when I am explaining it. Because in college, one thing I did learn is how you display your work. I remember when I first came in, I wasn't putting my things on pedestals. I said, I'll put it on the table. It looked ghetto, which was okay.
Right.
But they were just like, let me show you the proper way. And it always stuck with me. Presentation is everything. And so just like people in our appearance, it is a bit of everything, and what is appropriate and what isn't appropriate of whatever message you're trying to relay to that person.
Wow.
And so with my work, I wanted it to be relayed as clean and neat, and for it to be Afro art, definitely going through my culture shock and change, my appearance was something that people didn't necessarily approve of or understand, honestly. Not saying they didn't approve of it, they just didn't understand it. And so with me presenting everything the way I wanted to present it, I wanted the message to be strong behind it. Only because each of my pieces have their own story, whether it's more so about judging a book by its cover, more so about an infatuation type of relationship, a sad story about oneself, distance.
Tell me about the arts community for us as Black people in Omaha, Nebraska. So, is there a community? Is there an unknown community? I'm not an artist. When I met you, when we were introduced, I asked you some of these questions, and I was kind of intrigued by some of your answers. What is the arts community tribe like? You know, in the smack dab, almost in the middle of the whole country, in Omaha, Nebraska. People always ask, are there Black people in Omaha, first of all?
Yeah, and that's
And then, you know, beyond that, do you find you're a unique artist, or are there others like you, or is there a nice community of Black artists here in Omaha?
I'm just now getting my foot out there, getting the exposure that I need to. Like I said, this is my first solo show, which
Incredible.
I was super excited about.
Salute.
And so a lot of the time I was creating just because I come from an education of arts background. It was hard for me to even get outside of the classroom to get the exposure I need. And within the classroom, I don't feel like they knew as professors what was going on in the art world, but they didn't know how to help push us there. As in, they didn't provide us with the resources. I hate to say it, but I don't feel like I knew what galleries was going around in town. I had to actually look up these galleries, definitely transitioning from Lincoln to back to Omaha, because I wasn't sure how the art community was. I wasn't sure about where to go to connect with individuals for different things. And lately, I've just been relying on people contacting me to show my work, and which I'm grateful for, because the shows that I have applied to are more so of the shows that are out of state. So going back to your question of how is our art community, I do see it growing. It definitely has improved since I started my art career. And I just see a lot of people my age, because there are a lot of older artists that have done big murals around town, and I admire them, sculptures around town, and beautiful work. But then again, it's just like, can I get a cheat sheet? Like, can I get that cheat sheet or that blueprint of how you got that exposure to get there? But they're so busy with their work, they're not looking at the younger artists to improve. But there are some people that are there that are helping us, which I am grateful for, because I do have some great people in hot shops that have pushed me as a better artist, that even pushed me to be in this space as far as showing my work. And shout out to my studio mate, Ange, because she really encouraged me when I first got into hot shops to show my work. She would ask me questions like, are you having any shows? Have you applied to them? Am I actually putting myself out there? So, not saying she was like a mentor, but a very big impact with my transition of trying to come from college to actually get into the art world.
That's awesome. That's awesome. If someone is watching, they want to contact you, how do they reach you?
And then I also have an Instagram page where I strictly only post art, and that is XLILY art. That's probably like an easier contact way to get me. And I also have an email address where it's LILYVS.art@gmail.com.
We'll have those on the screen. They'll be able to contact you. And so you're open for other shows. You're open for out-of-state shows and galleries, and
yes,
art will travel.
So I hope that it leads that way. So I'm gonna keep applying, regardless of how many rejections, of course. But hopefully I can actually show more of my work within my community first. Because just coming from a predominantly Black neighborhood, I would love to give people like me the exposure that different organizations helped me as a little kid have. So if a little kid was to walk in today, I would love to see their face and their expressions more than I would see as an adult coming in here, because I know that little kid, their environment definitely impacts how their upbringing.
That was powerful when you said it earlier. that they made art accessible to you and brought it to the Boys and Girls Club and schools. And so they're not wasting their time by going into those schools and going into those kids programs and introducing kids to art, is what you're telling us. It has an impact. It works.
It definitely has an impact. All those nonprofits that sit here and try to encourage individuals as far as building oneself, that's how I look at it, because our environment is something that really plays a big role of who we are in our upbringing. And so, like I said, when I did make that transition, and it is nice to have different exposures to different things to understand whether or not you want to do something or whether you don't want to do something. So
Well,
it's definitely nice to have.
I thank you again from all of our board of advisors. We're so grateful that you agreed to come and show your work. It will go on record. We got your first ever solo show of many, many more to come. So when you're all in Stockholm, Sweden, and Australia, and Africa, and traveling, don't forget about little old us here in Omaha, Nebraska. We hope we get another show into the future. We know you're gonna be booked and busy, but don't forget about us. All right, everybody, thank you for watching. We're here in Omaha, Nebraska, the African American Arts Gallery.com, and we'll see you again very soon. Thanks for watching.